Now let's head to the province of Cosenza. Hi there, Joe here with yet another episode of Lens on Cosenza. Thanks for joining me. We're about 6 episodes into a total of maybe 40 before the big move takes place, and the last few weeks have been a exercise in what's termed minimalism. I've made a decision to eliminate like one thing, one piece of stuff out of my life every day. Lucia's done the same thing. So that's about 600 items that will eventually be jettisoned. And the process is, it's pretty interesting. One of the things that I believe one has to take into account is what's called the rule of thirds. Whatever you think is going to take an hour will probably take you 3 hours. It's looking at the stuff that you have that you haven't seen maybe in 20 or 30 years in a box, and you think you're just going to go in and say, I'll get rid of this, I'll get rid of this, I'll get rid of this. Doesn't work that way. You look at things, you kind of ponder them, and you kind of determine the emotional footprint, for lack of a better term, that particular item may or may not have, particularly when it comes to photographs and artwork and writing, letters, cards. The stuff has to go. You can't take it with you, particularly paper. Very, very heavy. And there's a certain amount of guilt or obligation that's attached to things. This was given to you by your father, your mother, or your aunt, and it's an heirloom. It's a challenge. It really is, and you have to kind of get into this mindset that you're giving not only yourself this new life, this move that's going to take place, but you're giving your stuff a new life too. And it's a way of looking at the whole process of decluttering your life. I tend to be a clothes and shoe, not a fanatic, but I like nice clothes and I like shoes. I probably had anywhere up to maybe 3 dozen pairs of shoes, over 30 pairs of shoes. And I take care of my shoes. I'm meticulous. I have a kit that I polish them, and I put shoe trees in them. Certain nice pairs I keep in shoe bags. I whittled that down to 12 pairs. And again, the rule that I ask myself in terms of whittling down is, does this particular item, does this pair of shoes, does this suit, does this add value to my life? Am I going to wear this? And if so, when and where? And when you answer those questions, those are sometimes tough questions because, again, you have this emotional attachment to things. You remember where you bought it. You remember why you bought it and what the event was for. You have to kind of, in your own mind, process it and determine, is this something that you want to lug with you? There was a fellow that I saw online who has like 50 possessions, 50 possessions in his whole world. Interesting guy. I don't recommend you go that deep in terms of minimalism, and I don't plan to, but whittling it down to the basics of the things that I need and I want to take with me is the determining factor moving forward in the big move. We're actually 9 months away, a little less than 9 months away from the big move. And again, every day I try to get rid of something. I try to digitize something. There's an interesting scene in a movie, The Fly. The more recent one, I think it was done 15, 20 years ago with Jeff Goldblum, and he played the character. The character's name was Seth Brundle. Seth Brundle was the scientist who turned into a fly. There was an interesting scene in there that always struck me. To keep his decisions down, his clothing decisions, he had like white shirts, black pants, and a black leather jacket. That was his entire closet. That's all he had. And I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. You don't really have to think about how you dress. And he always looked pretty cool. That was his brand. So that being his brand worked for him. I am working on my own brand. What is it that I'm going to be wearing when I move to Italy, when I move to the province of Cosenza? I hope to be somewhat stylish. I don't want to be a bum and just wearing T-shirts all the time. But again, what do I need? So these are the questions that I've been asking myself, and we've been asking ourselves as we go through this process. It's different, so different from moving from one city to another, from one state to another. You put everything in a U-Haul, you call a moving company, Beacons or Mayflower, and you just box your stuff up, or you have somebody come in and box everything up, and you move it. You move your stuff. George Carlin has a great bit, you could look it up on YouTube, about stuff, moving your stuff. Well, I've watched that a couple of times, and it's very enlightening. This is the process. This is the process of moving, the eliminating stuff, going minimal, becoming somewhat of a minimalist. I've actually read books. I've read books before this move about minimalism, and I've always been intrigued. How do you pare your life down to the essentials? So there's plenty of things to look up online if you want to look into minimalism, or if you just want to declutter your life. But that is this week's podcast here on Lens on Cosenza. I've got some interesting podcasts coming up. I'll be talking to some more people from the province of Cosenza, and we'll be talking about some of the great things that I have to look forward to. You, as a possible tourist, could look forward to seeing should you visit the area. I hope you enjoy this little journey with me. I really appreciate your support. I need the support. It's a big move. As I said earlier when I was talking about giving yourself and your stuff a new life, I call it La Vita Nuova. La Vita Nuova was one of Dante Alighieri's books, one of his earlier books, The New Life. And this is what I'm doing. This is what Lucia and I are doing. We're giving ourselves an entirely new life in a new country. And I'm glad that you're joining us for this interesting part of the journey, the ramp up. And please subscribe, tune in. My podcast will get a little more in-depth and a little more broad when it comes to the area itself, the province of Cosenza. We'll be looking at some of the different towns, the different areas, the different highlights in the area. So again, thanks for joining me. Please subscribe, give me a like, do all that good stuff, but I do appreciate you taking this journey with me. Thanks again. Lens on Cosenza.